Welcome to Bridging the Gap to Connections, the talk show, where we begin by sharing your stories and spotlighting your shine. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap to Connections. This is Darla Williams here, and today I am honored to say that I have a returnee on the show. We are going to be talking books today. This is for Tuesday Talking Books, Art and More. We have Mary-Beth Newell again, and today we're going to actually be diving into a little bit of a story about her, how she came into publication, some of the journey behind, and a little bit about the book itself. She's going to give us a sneak peek. Isn't that going to be amazing, everyone? Without any further ado, let me go ahead and welcome back Mary-Beth Newell to the show, and thank you, Mary-Beth, for coming back on. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me back on, Darla.
So we are getting together to talk about books and a little bit about Mary-Beth. So let me go ahead and share. She is a registered nurse with a master's degree in science who has decades of experience experimenting with varieties of skincare regimens, exercise routines, hair care, makeup, nutrition plans, and self-care that has led her to looking and feeling at least 10 years younger without the use of injectables and plastic surgery. That's just a little bit about the book. Now, we're going to go ahead real quick, and this title, Mary-Beth, can you tell us the title of your book?
Sure. It's Anti-Aging and Secrets of Healthy Living to Stop the Clock.
Oh, exciting to stop. We all need to stop that clock. None of us like those crow's feet. None of us like those hard lines from smiling or anything else. You know, it's funny. We get upset. We're happy. We create lines in our face because we're happy, and we all want to get rid of them. It's the evidence of life on our skin, but we do want to always remain supple and taken care of. So, Mary, would you like to, Mary-Beth, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just call you Mary-Beth.
Okay.
I have a question. How did you come into publishing a book? What opened that door for you that made you decide, I need to do this?
Okay. Well, I look a lot younger than what I am. I'm actually in my mid-60s right now and a grandmother. And so throughout the years, when people found out what my age was, they would say, well, what are you doing? And then when I would tell them what I'm doing, and it doesn't involve plastic surgery or injectables or Botox, people repeatedly would say to me, you should write a book. And so when I heard that enough and really thought about it, then I did take the plunge to share a lot of my ideas with other people.
How incredible. So tell us a little bit about that journey of publication. Was it an easy thing to do, or did you find yourself running into complications that you had to, any hurdles you had to overcome?
Well, I'll tell you, Darla, I thought writing the book and going through all the editing was the hard part. and, and it wasn't, because you have lots and lots of options after you write the book as far as getting it published and marketed. And I almost felt overwhelmed with all the choices and people coming at you and what do I need? What do I not really need? And so I actually had the benefit of another friend of mine who was more like a work colleague, but she also published some books. I was able to talk to her, and she gave me some guidance, which really helped me to narrow down what I needed, where I wanted to go. But still, like I said, there's lots of different choices and options that are out there for people. So I felt grateful to have someone who had already gone through that journey before me and was gave me some ideas, some things to think about when I was making my choices.
So when you went and published your book, did you choose traditional, like where you got published? Did you choose independent, or did you choose hybrid?
I went with a hybrid. So the traditional route can take anywhere from, if they accept your book, okay, it can take like 2 to 3 years. And then, and now they do all the marketing for you and everything, but they also take a much larger chunk of the royalties. And then if you do it completely on your own, I felt that I really didn't have the knowledge base to make it successful. So I did choose a hybrid route where they edited the book more for grammar, not so much, and this isn't like a novel. In a novel, they might say you need to develop this character more, or you need to change things. So they didn't edit the actual content, but more grammar. They might have suggested a change in a sentence or two, but it was very helpful. I mean, they helped me with my cover, the spine. They gave you a plan of how to market your book, as well as they do a little bit of marketing for you. But I felt like, and you have to have initiative. You just can't sit there. They give you the information. There's videos and material to read. So I took all that in and gobbled up all the information they gave me so that I could be successful.
I love that you broke into that space to talk about today. When I asked what format you chose, because out there are so many people who have a desire to write books. I'm also a published author and illustrator. I understand because I did that journey when I didn't have anyone around. So I can only imagine, you went through the same complications trying to figure out the right direction for yourself. So when you saw your book for the first time, how did that feel?
Oh, it was so exciting. Really, really very exciting to have it and have it in your hands, and look at it and see the finished product. So yes, it was, because it took a while. It took me about 18 months to write it because I work full time. So I was doing it either in the evenings or on the weekends. And then with the hybrid publisher I went with, it takes, I mean, even though you don't think it's going to take this long, and this was more of a fast track, about 5 to 6 months before it was ready to actually be released. So it is, of course, after you write it and you select the publisher, you want it, released in 2 weeks. That doesn't happen.
No, ma'am, it does not happen like that. I found that both of my books took 9 months. I felt like I was in labor, having another,
Yeah.
birthing another child is how it really feels. This is your baby. Once it comes out, I
Mhm.
mean, did it feel like that for you, being one
Yes.
carrying it for so long, telling everybody about it, but it not
Mhm.
being in your hands yet? Did you get
Yes.
excited and share it a lot?
Yes, absolutely. I shared it with everybody and on my social media channels. And another thing I did was create a website, just an author website that I had to. And again, that's another thing. You have lots of options. Where do you go? Who do you hire? What? I mean, I didn't even know some of these things related to software hosting, platform, and other things that you need. So, um, like I said, it was a journey. Like I said, I thought it was the hard part was writing it and getting it done. But if you don't know anything about the publishing or marketing industry, you definitely it's like taking a course to learn about it.
Absolutely. I cannot, like say that's absolutely the truth. It is like rediscovering and going in and trying to learn a whole new language. is what it felt
Mhm.
like for me coming into it, because I wasn't techie. I had to download all of these different things and put them in, and then I had to figure out where, because I was doing children's books, I had to figure out where to insert text with image,
Oh,
and I had to use the Adobe readers and all of this stuff to go in so that it was eligible for them to be able to put it into the system. Oh my gosh, it was just definitely, it's a work. However, it is so rewarding. Wouldn't you say that?
oh yes, yes, absolutely. And I like it because people seem to relate to it and find the information to be valuable that they can incorporate into their own lives. So I think that's what's especially rewarding is that the amount of time it took to do it is benefiting other people.
So you said that you have several segments of the book. So can you go over briefly what those different topics are that you cover in the book?
Mhm. Yes, it's exercise, nutrition, skincare. As I mentioned, my skincare, I don't use any injectables or plastic surgery. Um, Self-care, and then the fun section is like hair and makeup ideas.
Right. So I want you to go ahead and give us an opportunity to hear a little bit. What part of the book would you like to share with us today? Because we're going to go ahead and dive into a little insert on what she has written so that we can get a sneak peek of really what her book is really about and how it can actually help us. I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear what is going on in your book.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share something from the nutrition section, and I call it Vitamin D Gets an A plus. So you want me just to dive right in,
Just
Darla?
dive in. Yeah, we
Okay.
want to hear about
Okay.
this.
Okay. I was shocked years ago when I was told that I had a severe vitamin D deficiency. I drank a few cups of milk a day, lived in sunny Los Angeles, and either hiked or walked with my dog daily. What happened? Vitamin D is produced when we're exposed to UVB rays. Looking back on it, I used UVA UVB high SPF sunscreen along with wearing a hat. I wasn't sure why my consumption of milk wasn't enough, but I was placed on prescription strength vitamin D for 6 weeks. So, what's the big deal about vitamin D? Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, which keeps our bones strong. No one wants osteoporosis. It also produces or provides immune support and benefits the nervous system. Do you know the little old lady who fell and broke a hip due to osteoporosis? This is a condition that can be prevented. Most practitioners check vitamin D levels with an annual preventive exam and recommend bone analysis as women get older. If there's a deficit or there's more weakening of the bones, there are interventions that can be initiated to strengthen the bones. Vitamin D enhances the absorption of calcium. Do you take a calcium supplement? Check out the label. It probably contains vitamin D too. What else can it do? Vitamin D helps to prevent falls by improving muscle tone, and strong muscles improve our balance. Would you like to prevent cognitive decline? Yes, who wouldn't? One study showed that the risk of dementia was 54% higher in people who had low vitamin D levels. Several studies concluded that people with normal vitamin D levels have a reduced risk of early death. Goodbye, Grim Reaper. The key to preventing a cold might not be orange juice, but rather vitamin D. It reduces inflammation and strengthens the immune system. When we turn the clocks back and it's cold outside, everybody gets less sunshine. No wonder we get those pesky wintertime colds. Children and adults with low levels are more likely to get a cold or respiratory infection. Vitamin D is also linked to reducing the incidence of autoimmune disorders by 22%. Type 2 diabetes is at epidemic rates. Could vitamin D help? Yes. Vitamin D has been shown to reduce inflammation insulin resistance, and preserve beta cell function. It may also have some benefits in reducing cancer risk by preventing or slowing tumor growth. Okay, so you're sold. Load me up with vitamin D. Well, we want to have an adequate level of vitamin D. This is one vitamin where more is not better. Too much vitamin D can cause problems such as cardiac arrhythmias and kidney stones. It is a fat soluble vitamin, which means it's absorbed into your fat and stays in our bodies longer. Water
Wow.
soluble vitamins are flushed out of our system.
This
So the
is
best,
incredible.
yeah.
This is truly incredible. What you are diving into right here. I really want to pause that right there because there's so much more you can unpack that you
Mhm.
really educate the world at large at what vitamin D can do. And that's just one segment, just one section of the
Right.
book that she's uncovering. Now, you got to remember at the beginning of the show, I explained to you who she is. She's a registered nurse. So she really does know the fundamental truths behind what certain vitamins, different regimens, and different things can do for our body. So I really want to unpack this. You're looking at, you mentioned in there that I loved was the fact that you said, vitamin C is great for our immune, but you're saying that something we really need to be educated more on is how much vitamin D really
Mhm.
is there to help us in many different areas. And can you dive a little more into how you found out that was, you said you'd gone to the doctor and
Mhm.
you found out that your vitamin D was low. So when you started doing that research to put this into this book, was it just that you were excited for yourself or because you wanted to make sure what people were informed?
I think having people informed. The other thing is, I work with seniors. And so a lot of our seniors, when they have, well, if you have a fall, a lot of times you can have a fracture. But if you have added, like your muscle tone, so you may not, you may be able to prevent a fall by having better muscle tone, by having an adequate amount of vitamin D, which people don't always think of. So, and actually, there's even some newer research that vitamin D can help to protect our telomeres. And our telomeres are like these caps on the end of our genes. And when your telomeres start to go, that accelerates aging. So it has even more benefits that have been identified since I wrote the book.
Wow, this is so intriguing, and then you mentioned so many different ailments that people are suffering with every day. But when they start tuning in, so you're saying that if we can get a better regimen in our exercise, our nutrition, taking care of our skin, taking care of us, that we can actually prolong our life by just taking the right steps, by taking care of ourselves.
Correct. You can extend as well, have a much better quality of life too. Mhm.
I want anybody out listening to what you heard her talk about today. If you have any questions, make sure that you put them down in the chat box and we'll get those questions answered one way or another. I'll find ways to actually help people to get the resources and the information that is necessary. Beth, I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you're helping women to feel, better quality within their body, but also helping them with their self-esteem.
Mhm.
When you were doing this journey for yourself and you realized, how much benefits you were receiving, and then knowing that you were getting ready to give this to those around you, how did it empower you when you saw the results of others?
Well, I do have to say some of the responses that I've gotten from people, and a lot of what I do now, that was just one excerpt. A lot of other things when I talk about exercise, it's how you can get it into a busy life. Because a lot of times people know what they should be doing, but it's like, I'm too busy. I wish I could. I don't know how to do it. But I think getting responses back and feedback from people that said, oh, I never thought of that. and people say, I can't do this. I can't do it. Just showing people in your everyday life how you can make small changes that are going to have a huge impact on your well-being, your looks, your health. So I found that to be incredibly rewarding, Darla.
Definitely. I would, for myself personally, as I've aged, I've realized that I'm starting, because of genetics, I'm suffering with some different health issues that have started to creep up and along the way. I know that myself personally, I'm going to be picking up a book for myself because I know that it's going to help me to begin a journey, because I am looking at correcting some stuff with my sugar levels, because I am in that I just became insulin dependent, and I want to fix this and correct it before it becomes a constant. I'm just beginning this journey, and you just told me that there was some real information in this book that's going to help me to know how to make some
Mhm.
shifts in the right direction. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to pick up a copy of your book. So where can others find it? If they're hearing this stuff and if, like myself, wanting to get a copy of it, where can we find your book?
Well, probably the easiest location is on Amazon. So it's in Kindle form or a paperback form. I also have a website, marybethnewell.com. And so that's another way to receive a copy of the book, or Barnes and Noble has it as well. So there's a couple different ways to obtain a copy of it.
Perfect. So before we check out for the episode today, I want to ask you, do you have any final comments or suggestions or tips that any of us could take and benefit from that you feel would be very vital from your book today?
I think the idea is, like I said, small changes can have big impacts, and it's a journey. So, sometimes like at the beginning of the year, people get all excited and you'll join a club and go, and then I think if you jump into things too fast, it's not a lasting habit. So it's okay to say, okay, I might want to do these 5 things, but today I'm going to do one. And I'm really going to incorporate it into my lifestyle. And then in 2 weeks or a month or whatever, I want to do another. Or maybe you start with 2 that you can do. But ease into it and just incorporate it into your lifestyle. So it's not, I'm going to exercise to lose 5 pounds or, something like that. You really want it to be a whole lifestyle change. And it is a journey. There are things that I'm still working on. I'm still learning about. And even though everything in my book I've tried, and I know it works. And like I said, a lot of it I'm backing up with science, and it's real science. It's from, double-blind studies, National Institutes of Health, the CDC, the Institutes on Aging. But yeah, there's something for everybody in there. So yeah, pick it up. And like I said, small changes will end up with big impacts.
This has been a blessing and a pleasure to have you back on the show and to share more of your book. I look forward to doing other things and finding people to find you in the future. And until next time, guys, thank you for another viewing of the Bridging the Gap to Connections with Darla and Mary-Beth today. And until next time, bye for now.